The Christmas Special.
Just from the bottom of my heart want to wish a very Merry Christmas to all of your listeners.
We wish you and your listeners a very happy Christmas. I love you all in Cornwall. Love you, love you.
Hi, it's Rochelle Humes. The research that we found shows that last-minute shopping, a lot of people are doing their online shop whilst being on the loo, which is mental, actually. They're obviously sitting on the loo for quite some time and just enjoying it there.
And the worst part
like
is...
an armchair.
Yeah, the wording, actually, in this little release I've got in front of me, the wording's awful, because it says, worst places that we're squeezing in gift shopping. I just thank the Lord that it didn't say squeezing it out. That would have been terrible.
Oh, my gosh, no. There you go. I said that as multitasking at its best, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's impressive, to be fair. I was actually trying to think of whether you'd care to join me in a competition. I'm up against you now as to the most ridiculous presents you've ever bought someone. Is this too harsh? Is this too harsh?
I mean, what has been bought for me or that I've bought?
Doesn't matter. Either way is good.
Yeah, I know what the worst one is that I've probably been bought. My Saturday's bandmate Molly, we did Secret Santa once, so she didn't know that I'd find out that it was from her, and she obviously forgot because we've been really busy, and she took an egg cup from her mum's cupboard and wrapped it up and gave it to me.
What a marvellous gift!
The worst. I know.
Is it on the mantelpiece?
Yeah, it's not. I don't really know where it is anymore.
One question, actually, before we go any further. Now, this could be a hard question. I don't know, but right. And for you, Rochelle, this is going to be an obvious answer, right? But what I like to do is give my guests a song choice for the show. All right. But Rochelle, here's the thing. I was thinking, right? Well, obviously, it's going to have to be the Saturdays, obviously. But I was just wondering, like, what your personal favourite for today would be of your own music.
Oh, of my own?
Yeah, of your own. Yeah.
I would probably say we love What About Us, because that was our first number one, so
Excellent.
that will always be a special song.
Lovely. Well, you know what? I'm going to get that on the show straight away.
Thank you very much.
I was trying to convince my mate earlier, right, that the greatest Christmas cover of all time is by Rod Stewart, The Sultry Tones of Rod. What do you think?
Yeah, but do you know, I bought. Remember he released the Christmas album, didn't he, a couple of years ago? It was so good.
Exactly.
I really liked that. I actually really liked that.
Thank you. Yeah. See, now I can. No one can disagree with you now.
I'm with you there.
Sweet. Right. Well, there we go. No one can actually deny that now. I've got you agreeing, so that's
not really that I have much to weigh, but I'm agreeing with you there.
No, that's it. It's debate over. Hello, both. Can you hear me okay there?
Hey, Ben. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine, thanks. It's a very, very warm welcome to you back, Gloria, as well, because I had you on the show earlier, so I'm pleasure to have you again.
I remember you're a very smooth talker, Ben.
Well, thank you for that. That's very, very kind indeed. And you know what? Just for saying that, I'm going to have to give you another song request, Gloria. Is that all right?
Oh, I've got my song all lined up. Don't you worry.
Well, people, online games and things. Gloria, please tell me that you're a gamer.
Me? Well, it depends what you're talking about, Ben. I told you were a smooth talker, didn't I?
Because I can totally see the kind of checking what you actually need the broadband for as well. Because I'm gonna have to admit I am a bit of a gamer. Got a little Xbox room set up. I'm kind of one of those nerdy guys. Sorry about that.
You've got a special room for it.
I've got. I tell you what I call it. I call it the Beat Lab because it's where I make music as well. How cool is that?
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, my partner's already warned me that it won't last forever, though. I'm going to have to get rid of it one day. But at the moment, I'm clinging on to it.
Actually, I heard a woman on the radio the other day, and she had a very special room, and it was on Sunday, and she was going out for a walk on Sunday, going to get the papers, and then she was going back, and she said she would be in that room playing games until she went to bed.
Yes.
But I think, you see, in a way, that's quite sad.
Yes, a tiny bit, isn't it? Yes.
All in moderation, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think moderation is a key word for it, isn't it? And I tell you where I also need moderation. You mentioned Netflix at the beginning. I definitely need. I'm such a guilty person when it comes to just binge watching everything. I just do it. I'm sorry, because I've got a load of. I tell you what I love: the Clint Eastwood classic westerns, and they've got loads of them on Netflix at the moment. So I'm obsessed.
I was in a restaurant last year when Clint Eastwood walked into the restaurant, and I nearly fell over.
Amazing.
Because I think he's fabulous.
He's got such a great look, hasn't he? He's just the coolest guy in the world, I think. Sharon, come on, admit it. He's the coolest guy, isn't he? What do you think?
I'm a great fan of Clint Eastwood. Actually, my mother, he was one of my mother's favourite Hollywood heroes.
Yes.
I have to say, a bit like you, the Netflix guilty secret is slightly worrying. That the times at home when there are at least 3 devices all streaming different back catalogues in Netflix, with RuPaul's Drag Race is currently the top favourite. So I think we need to share the secret.
Fantastic.
You do need ultra-fast broadband. 300 megabits coming your way.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, because it's surprising, but I tell you when you know what's going on, actually, if you're on Netflix and if you use the same kind of username and you don't bother changing it, you'll suddenly think, I'm not watching that. Oh, wait, yeah, someone is right next door. And you just realise that so many people are using it all at the same time. It's ridiculous. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'd love really just if it's okay with you both to I know we've done it a few times now, and thanks for that, but just really reiterate exactly where listeners can go to check this, and also you mentioned the rules, Sharon, and you said perhaps sometime next year or something like this that they might be in place, or I wonder if you could kind of just remind our listeners, basically.
Yeah.
Well, the broadband, which you really should have in front of you all the time, is boostyyourbroadband.com. And remember, it is independent advice, and that's truly important in this day and age.
Thanks, Gloria.
And the new rules, which mean that your broadband provider has got to tell you when your contract's coming to an end, and then the best price, the best tariff for you will be in the first part of 2019. They're coming very soon.
Great, thanks, Sharon. Now, I'd love, actually, if it's okay with you both, of course, you're most welcome to add anything else that you might want to. But I just really want to give you both a Christmas song choice.
Wow. I'm going to go first because he's my favourite. I think Mistletoe and Wine is probably the most perfect Christmas song, for me anyway.
Yes.
And I've known Cliff Richard for 50 years. He's a great mate, and I certainly would love to hear that.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm going to get it straight on just for you, Gloria. Thank you for that. And Sharon
is a different one.
And for me, I would love All I Want for Christmas Is You, because I've been rewatching Richard Curtis's Love Actually. It's my favourite song from the film.
Yes, another absolute classic. I love it. Well, thank you very much, both. Just wanted to double check before I let you go, actually, that that you're all happy that there's nothing that you wanted to add, and I might have missed today. Then you're most welcome to get that across to our listeners now.
I think you've been utterly brilliant, Ben. So nothing else. All the basic information is in there, so you've done good.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Gloria, and thank you to you as well, Sharon. Absolute pleasure to have you both. And Gloria,
Ben,
I very much hope to have you
much.
soon again.
And we wish you you and your listeners a very happy Christmas, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You both as well. Thanks very much indeed.
Great.
Bye-bye, Ben.
Bye
Lovely.
now.
Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. It's Cornwall.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's an absolute pleasure to have you back with us. I remember last time you were with Kay and you were chatting to us, so an absolute delight to have you back. How have you been?
Oh, you know, Cornwall is my favourite county in the country. I was there a few weeks ago for my birthday, and I just adore it. I want to retire there. I've travelled all around the world, but nowhere is like Cornwall. It is heaven for me.
Oh,
and
lovely.
And you know what? Another thing I'm jealous about, the fact that you're in Cornwall.
Yeah, go on.
Children in the southwest use their devices for 1 hour 25 minutes a day, which is the lowest in the UK.
Yep,
and do you know why that is? Because they're out, they're playing, they're surfing, they're on the beach. I love it there.
Well, you know how welcome you are down here, Nadia, honestly. And whenever you're in the area, give us a bell. You can pop in the studio, spin some beats, whatever you want.
Oh, I should have done that, shouldn't I, when I was last in? Whereabouts are you then, exactly?
Well, Coast FM is in Penzance. So if you're going down towards Land's End, it's kind of handy for that. And
yeah, well, we came on the train on the train into Penzance, and then went to St Ives. Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, and also if you wanted to go across the Isles of Scilly, you could catch us just before you board the ferry as well.
Oh, well, actually, that's our loose women trip next year. We're going to
amazing.
Scilly Isles. I've wanted to go there so badly ever since Kelly Brook went there on this morning.
Yes.
And I was green with envy. I'm going to go to the Scilly Isles, and now I'm going. I'm so excited.
You're going to love it, Nadia, honestly. Well, that's great to have you. And also, well, I suppose coming straight back to your point about the kids using devices, that's kind of exactly what we're going to be talking about today, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Nationwide have financed this research about all about are we really digitally safe from our own children this Christmas? I mean, as we know, practically every child in the country will either have a device or will be sharing a device with somebody else in the family. And I think that I know that we've definitely, as parents, we are probably quite clued up, most people, on the dangers of personal safety to our children, grooming, all those other horrors. And I think the large majority of people have had some sort of conversation with their children about that. But I think we are falling down, definitely. And I say we because I'm just as bad, on our financial cybersecurity.
Sure.
And it is something that we all tend to think, I know, that's never going to happen to me. That's going to be somebody else. All of us, at some time, if not right this minute, have been very lazy with our passwords, possibly.
Yes.
Using the same one, possibly. Not being very creative with them. I mean, I certainly know my children have had such a go at me about that one and using the same one for all my sites.
Is it Nadia rules okay?
They have slapped my hand for that, and I'm much better. And I know people groan at the sound of, use strong passwords, change your passwords regularly, because it's so hard. It's not for me to even remember my children's names sometimes, let alone all the different passwords we need. But Will Geddes, who is a cybersecurity extraordinaire expert, gave me quite a good idea, which is think of something that would be really easy for you to remember, but very difficult for a hacker. So, something maybe that your dad always said to you, or your nan always said to you.
Sure, that's a good
or
idea.
the first word that your child said to you. And then make sure that you add numbers and lowercase and uppercase. Change it regularly. Don't ever do what I still do, even though I'm on the radio, giving out this information, and an update request comes in on my phone and I press, mind me later. Have you done that?
Yeah, you know what, I'm going to have to admit, I've done that as well.
Yeah, don't do it. The whole time you're saying remind me later, you're leaving yourself vulnerable to whatever your device may have picked up on is danger. You're leaving yourself vulnerable. So get that update done as soon as you see it. Tell your kids to do the same. Make sure you use your antivirus software. And you know what? Just try and have a discussion with your kids about financial safety. And if your kids are at that stage where anything you say, they roll their eyes, shrug, slop out, so I hate you, I didn't ask to be born. Then try and get the information into them by osmosis. So Mark and I, my husband, will often bring something up over dinner, like say, oh, did you see this thing in the paper today? Yeah, no, this person, they clicked on something on a website that had come in.
Sure.
They didn't go back to the original website, they clicked on it, oh my God, and then this terrible software downloaded, managed to access all their accounts, wipe them out. Yeah. No money for Christmas, and you can see the kids' ears flapping. Another good bit of advice is if you're buying your kid a device this Christmas, open up the box. I know they want to open the cellophane, but you can open up the box beforehand and put the parental controls in.
Sure.
Activate your parental controls. And don't just switch on and go, oh, I won't be able to do it. You will. It does take a little bit of concentration, but not too much. You can get it done. You can get it done.
Now, the only problem is, Nadia, now everybody is going to know, because you've come on the radio again, everyone's going to know that all my passwords are just Nadia is awesome. So I'm going to have to change them now.
I love you. You sounded so Cornish. You see, when Cornish people say awesome, you don't mind, because it is awesome. If somebody in London says awesome, I'm just like, oh, God, please.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to pop in and see you next time in Cornwall, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you're so welcome. And I tell you what, you would have unlimited access to the playlist for that whole day as well, just to just in honour of your appearance. Well, Nadia, at this stage, could I ask if you have an obvious place that we can send our listeners to kind of read up on a bit on this? Because I do think it's worth our listeners checking out, all these security tips that you've been talking about, and just making sure that they are staying safe digitally.
Yeah, if you go to nationwide.co.uk, there's lots of helpful bits of tips and advice. Also, I've brought out a book, Parent Alert, which is like a Bible of all the things that you might need to know, not just security, not just financial security, but everything I think that we're worrying about as parents. You could check that out too.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds great. Well, thanks, Nadia. Now, you know what, I am going to have to, we're chatting about songs, but I'm going to have to give you a song request today. Is that all right? Can I play something for you at all?
Yes.
What can I get you?
Oh, what is it? Is it something Christmassy?
It can be. It's totally up to you. No, honestly, totally up to you.
Frank? Can I have Frank?
Of course you can, of course.
Or is it Bing? Oh, Christ, is it Bing or Frank? I'm dreaming. What is it? Is it Frank or Bing?
Oh, I think it is Frank, isn't it? Have I got that wrong?
I'm not sure if it's that we always think it's Frank, but actually it's Bing, or whether it's Bing and we always think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, we'll clear this one up. If anyone knows, maybe they could text in and tell us anyway. But we'll clear it up and then we'll play it.
All right, okay. Oh, my love to you all in Cornwall. Love you.
Thanks so much, Nadia. Well, as we said,
see my love.
We all want to see you. We all want to see you down here.
Oh, I love it there. See you, my darling.
See
Take
you. Bye
care.
now, Nadia. Thanks again.
Bye.
Ewen, can I just say, I was actually watching a highlight clips of all your work this morning, and it's one of the funniest things I think I've ever watched. It's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
I was debating, because you did that hip-hop classical style singing once. Do you remember that? I was debating whether I should ask you to sing a little hip-hop song at the end of the interview.
Weirdly, we didn't actually sing. We actually used professional singers on that.
Really? Well, it's fine because I bet your vocals are just heavenly though.
They're not on that. They're not. He was a professional tenor, so I wasn't quite at that level.
No, it's okay. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you'll be able to do something. At least I'll let you choose a song. How about that, Ewen? Is that okay?
Thank you.
This actually happened to me the other day, guys. I mean, I went out for a friend of mine just passed his PhD Viva, so big celebrations all round. I thought it was a great idea at the time to just buy just a few tequilas, just a couple. It all went wrong, mate. I just woke up with absolutely no cash. So if only I could have said, guys, okay, I'll get you tequila, but make sure you get on that PM.
Yeah, I remember when I started a new job years ago, and we went, and it was our Christmas party was we'd go to the pub, but it would be a free bar. And it was an open secret to everyone except me that the free bar finished as soon as the managing director left.
Yes.
She'd say, right, that's it, I'm off. And I'd gone up and got the next round in, thinking it's free bar as usual. I've got 10 pints of lager, 5 whiskies, 6 glasses of wine. Get rid of 10, we're back, and the guy's like, that's 115 quid. And it's like, whoops. Guys, anyone want to help out here?
Yeah.
So now there's an easy way to just get your money back off your mates.
Fantastic. Actually, a friend of mine, right, there was a terrible. I probably shouldn't be sharing his story on air because he's going to be disappointed with us. No, he's not really. He's a great guy. But he was in deep trouble with his wife because he went out on a work do, and I think his tab was, honestly, I don't even know how he managed it. It was, I remember him telling me it was something like £700 from a night.
Whoa. And
I thought, how did you, mate? He must have been kind of buying, he probably got absolutely possessed in the club or something. He was buying like the most expensive bottles of, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how he managed that. That's impressive, but that's probably a bit of an extreme story.
You save your embarrassment for something more fun, like wearing a dodgy Christmas jumper.
Exactly. Okay, guys, this is the question: what's the worst Christmas jumper you own? I've got a terrible one. It has like a. You've probably seen it before. I think it might even be a Primark number. Actually, I'm not sure. It's got like a carrot nose that comes out really far from the shirt. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
Please tell me you've got an equally daft one, Ewen, and you, Mark. You must have.
I'm allergic to Christmas jumpers. I kind of try to avoid them. I've found out this. I've compromised this year, and I've got like a T-shirt with a Christmas jumper design on it. So I think that's kind of the way forward.
That is totally. Also, Ewen, if you're rocking a beard currently, have you heard of the new trend, the beard glitter? You could try that out.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I think that sounds a bit too messy to me. I'm going to go down that route.
Getting your food and everything, you wouldn't want
you wouldn't want the glitter everywhere for the next 2 months.
As long as you're paying people back, though. I mean, if you're doing that, then it's okay, I think. And any kind of other festive embarrassments is totally on the cards, isn't it? It's fine.
Yeah.
Guys, it's come down to the ultimate question, because I'd like to give you each a Christmas song choice. So I don't know how you feel about that. Can I get something on for you?
Yeah, my current favourite Christmas song is 2,000 Miles by the Pretenders.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's an absolute classic one. Nice one, Ewen. Thanks.
Yeah.
And You know what, Ewen, I was talking about the, you're saying that you got the guys to sing the classical hip-hop, because I thought one of the best songs ever, a recent song, to cover, just because of how ridiculous it would be. Have you heard, it's called Mo Bounce by Iggy Azalea? Yeah. Imagine that, it would just be bounce, 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 it'd be amazing. So can you do that?
That'll definitely be the next one to do.
Yeah, do it next, please.
Yeah.
Bounce, bounce, bounce. Or indeed, any last minute, heartfelt, festive messages, you're so welcome to get those in now.
I just would, from the bottom of my heart, want to wish a very Merry Christmas to all of your listeners.
Oh, thank you so much, Ewen. That means a lot. I'm going to probably play that.
I'm sure it does.
I'm going to play that little soundbite probably like 10 times after the interview as well, just so that people really, really get it. Well, thanks, guys. I'll let you go. Thanks for your time today.
Oh, Ben, it's so great to talk to you. Thank you very much for giving me some time. Do you know what? This is one of the most favourite days of the year for me. And if you could see me sitting here in the studio in London, I'm slightly hot and sweaty, wearing a very tight nylon jumper, but it's a very easy thing to do. We're asking people to put on a festive knit, donate £2 to Save the Children, and make the world slightly better with a sweater. You've got to get involved. Are you wearing a Christmas jumper today, Ben?
I shall be later, so don't you worry. And I tell you what, I have got a bit of a ridiculous one as well. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's got a ridiculous snowman nose that sticks out really far, so I'm pretty pleased with it.
You bump into people. But, if you do put it on later, you are only going to be one out of 5 million people taking part in Christmas Jumper Day today. And since 2012, when Christmas Jumper Day fully started, £17 million has been raised for the world's most vulnerable children. Last year we raised £4.5 million, and Christmas is a time for giving, and this year, just put on a jumper, donate £2 to Save the Children. It's so easy. You text donate to 750, and you can do your bit to save some of the most vulnerable children around the world. And we're not just talking about children in far-flung places like Sierra Leone and Mozambique, where I have been, Rwanda, but actually just people round the corner. I've been to visits with Save the Children in Margate, which is 2.5 hours from where I lived, and I came home and I just felt absolutely dreadful that there are children on our doorsteps that really do need our help. And £2 doesn't sound like a lot of money at this time of year, but it really does. It makes a huge difference to those children just round the corner from where we live. It's less than a cup of coffee.
Well, this is fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Natasha. And it's such an easy thing for people to get involved with, and I do urge all of our listeners to do so. Get a bit festive. Even find a bit of tinsel as a scarf as well. That was a good tip, I think, as well. It's
if you haven't got a jumper today, you can even make your own, can't you? And I slightly wish that I'd made my own rather than putting on this synthetic one this morning. But you can follow us on Instagram, hashtag Christmas Jumper Day, and I've actually got my own little Instagram account, hashtag Kaplinsky, and I might even put a picture of myself wearing this very sexy little number on.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Hashtag better with a sweater. I think that's going to be trending this year. Well, Natasha, I will, just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I'd really like just to end by, two things actually, Natasha, if it's okay with you, just to reiterate where listeners can go for a bit more information and how they can get involved. I wonder if you could kind of remind us. And also, Natasha, and this is up to you, I don't know whether you have a Christmas song that's in your top list of favourites, because if you do, I'm going to play it for you.
Oh gosh, that's so kind of you. Oh, I wish I'd thought about that. We wish you a Merry Christmas, something like that.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
Yeah,
Wham's always a good one as well.
Oh yeah, Last Christmas. Go on, a bit of Wham.
Yes.
Take me back to my childhood. But let me just remind your listeners then, Ben, it's just texting donate to 750, or log on to the website christmasjumperday.org, follow us or hashtag Christmas Jumper Day, give whatever you can. It's just £2 we're asking for, but if you want to give any more, I tell you what, you'll make a big difference and you'll feel much better about yourself at the end of the day.
Well, Natasha, thanks so much. Last Christmas is coming on now, and I want to thank you again, and wish you a very, very Merry Christmas
indeed.
Happy
Christmas to you too. Happy Christmas Jumper Day.
Yes, that's it. Thanks, Natasha. Goodbye then.
Bye, Ben.
So, I'm Ruby Bhogal, so might have known me as a finalist in the Great British Bake Off this year. But here to discuss more exciting things today. What about you, Ben?
Well, thank you, Ruby, and it's fantastic to have you. I can tell you that.
Good.
And I'm Martin Lee. I'm the executive chef for Tesco, so I look at product development and all the new things that will be landing on your shelves over the coming year.
Awesome. Thanks, Martin. Now, both, would you mind if I just started with a bit of a story, and it's kind of my biggest failure at hosting a very good friend of mine, gluten intolerant and dairy intolerant. Okay, this didn't go very well. So hopefully, with you guys on the show today, with the new festive menu helper, you'll be stopping this ever happening again. I'm a dreadful chef.
We're going to make it very easy for your friend.
Well, the thing is, I'm a dreadful chef, unfortunately. I'm so sorry, both of you. So I decided to make homemade burgers, right? I thought, okay, it's fine. Gluten-free bread, it's all fine. But guess what I put in there? A massive slab of cheese. And I completely forgot about the fact that you can't really have cheese.
Yeah.
Total failure.
Oh, it happens, honestly. It really does happen. But I think that's why the festive menu helper from Tesco is a fantastic app, because it helps to kind of eliminate that sort of stress of having to cater for someone with certain dietary requirements, or if someone's on like a trend-led diet. The app is fantastic for that. It really caters, and it gives you everything from starters to mains to desserts, including some wine pairing as well, which is something that I'm always keen on, because I always get that one completely wrong.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I was hoping we could kind of touch on festive beverages as well, because that's always an important part. Let's not lie, it's an important part, Christmas.
Makes it go down easier, doesn't it?
Oh, it certainly does. Ruby, what's your go-to festive beverage? That's the real question on everyone's minds right now.
The thing is, my festive beverage choice, because obviously I quite like to do a few boozy bakes as well, it's something that I like to chuck into a lot of my desserts and my baking. And it's really only a drink that I'll drink at Christmas, but any almond liqueur or amaretto is fantastic for me. It's so good, so smooth. And adding a splash into Christmas cake as well really does help.
There we go. Quite a versatile beverage then in that case.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, was it the ski trip? It was definitely some form of, this was a while ago now, a college trip, I think, to Germany, right? And we arrived, and it was a beautiful, beautiful place, but the kitchen just did not know how to deal with anything that wasn't just 100% meat. It was hilarious, because one of our friends, she said, oh, yeah, no, I'm actually a vegetarian. So they said, oh yeah, no worries, we're going to sort you out. And they came back with this dish, and it was noodles with something, I think. And she said, oh, thank you, yeah. Oh, what's this? Because it was kind of had like this brown saucy thing that went with it. And he said, oh, it's a vegetarian noodles made with beef. And she said, what? No. So then her meal hilariously was a block of cheese.
Oh no!
So, yeah,
with a nice little green leaf on top to make it look a bit posh, eh?
Exactly. Ruby, I hope you're going to be cooking your Christmas dinner in a tent whilst a friend films you, though, because otherwise it's not going to be the same.
It's not the same, is it? That's going to be cheating, isn't it? Oh, honestly, I would like to say, I think cooking in a tent is probably less stressful than Christmas Day cooking. Honestly, there's so much that you have to do on Christmas Day. On top of having to, entertain people that are coming round, finding time to actually open your presents as well and enjoying a beverage or two. So my main Christmas tip, I think, is making sure that you get as much prep as you possibly can done the night before. I don't know what you think, Martin, but that for me is key.
Absolutely. I spend all my Christmas Eve preparing all the vegetables, because most of my meal is relatively traditional. I love the roast carrots and parsnips done in honey or maple syrup or something like that.
Definitely.
And I'm a firm believer that if everyone started to burn their Brussels sprouts a little bit, people would never say they.
I love Brussels sprouts.
I know.
They get a bad rep, right?
The moment you steam them or boil them, all the soul seems to disappear out of them.
So
cover them in oil, roast them heavily, and get a bit of char on there, and they turn into something absolutely delicious.
Oh God, already salivating. Honestly, it's terrible.
So basically, it's a bit of a shout out as well, not only for the festive menu, but also just don't give sprouts all the hate, man. Just give them a try.
Honestly, they've got such a bad rep.
I love it when they come around in Christmas time. It's my favourite time of year when I see those little green.
Oh, they're so
cute. They're lovely.
It's the only time that they get their time, isn't it? Bless them.
Really is.
You know what my mum used to do to get us to eat the sprouts?
Yeah.
It was a very cheeky tip, actually, but she just used to chop them up and put them in a little dish with bacon.
Oh, yeah. That's always a good one. It tastes so good. Or, even just drowning them in gravy, I find, is also really good to help them get down.
And it is, and it doesn't always just have to be things like bacon that are delicious that go with them. All the lovely things about bacon, that chewiness, that crispness, chestnuts thrown over the Brussels sprouts as well, give that kind of, that kind of texture that you really want to go with them as well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, so people can give it another try, give sprouts another chance. Yeah, I like it.
No, definitely. That's honestly, that's why I think the festive menu helper is going to be so good for so many people this year, because, you know, we're seeing such a huge rise in plant-based options this year. So, you know, just swapping out maybe a meat-based stuffing for a plant-based option, or changing over the goose fat or the duck fat that you use for your roasties, just swapping them out with maybe some coconut oil, and it tastes, you know, fantastic, and you can't really taste a difference either, which is great.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? I'm just thinking as well, because even if you don't have to, you know, cater to different dietary requirements, even if everyone's the same, you can still probably have a lot of fun with this, right? You just try other things that you might not have usually tried. You know, make a bit of an event out of it. You know, it is Christmas after all.
No, for sure. And the best thing is, there's so many great suggestions on the app. And they actually, if you select, you know, say if you wanted to do the cranberry meringue pie. Not that I'm definitely going to do it. I probably will definitely do it. But you can actually just take the ingredients and pop it into your shopping basket. So it kind of takes that stress out of it as well. And I know for me, doing the Christmas shopping, I love to do it, but I don't know why I put myself through the stress half the time as well, because it is manic in the supermarket as well, isn't it? Crazy. It is, yeah.
It's a festive, but not sometimes very pleasant experience.
a few Scrooges in the supermarket.
Exactly, yeah. Hey, both of you, I'm gonna have to ask you both. Actually, this is a really key question, right? So when it comes to doing, you know, it comes to the big day, right? You're having the meal. It's all going well, but here's the crucial question, because I'd both like to get one selection from both of you, and that is what you're going to add to the Christmas party playlist. What tunes are you going to add? Come on, you've got to help me out here.
Oh, go on, Martin. I'll let you take the lead on that one.
Well, I wish it could be Christmas every day. You know,
obvious.
Surely.
Yeah, perfect.
You get to eat Christmas dinner. You get to do all the great recipes from the Tesco Festive app.
Exactly. I wish there was an app for every day, right? Ruby, come on then. Come on, you've got to...
Oh, you know, I'm always trying to do my best Mariah Carey impression whilst I'm cooking my turkey. So that's
really have to stop you doing it all morning.
I sound like a strangled cat, but you know, I still try.
Amazing. Well, in that case, I'll have to get her on then. people are going to just imagine you kind of breathing along to it in the kitchen.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. Thanks for that one, Ben.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, perfect. Well, I tell you what, I'd just both like to of course, thank you both very much indeed for coming on the show today. And
thank you.
Just to kind of let you reiterate anything that, you know, if I've missed anything here or anything like that you wanted to get across to our listeners today, or even if you just wanted to, I don't know, even finish with a heartfelt Christmas message, you know, for our listeners, you're welcome to, yeah. So basically, just jump right in if you want to add anything now.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, you know, whether you're serving up turkey or tofu or butternut squash this Christmas, there's definitely plenty of inspiration to be found out there on the Festive Menu Helper by Tesco. So definitely go and check it out. You can go to realfood.tesco.com for more information on the homepage. And other than that, just go and have yourself a really stress-free Christmas.
Absolutely. Don't stress out over Christmas. You know, at the end of the day, it'll always be delicious in the end.
Of course.
Absolutely. Well,
if you don't ban it.
Yes. Well, you know, don't serve someone who has a dairy intolerance a block of cheese, and then you'll be all right.
Yeah, and that. Yeah, that would also be very helpful, wouldn't it?
No. Well, thank you both. A couple of classic tunes as well, selected by yourself. So I'm going to get them on right away, actually. You know what? Get
thanks, Ben.
Cheers.
Have
Bye
a great
then,
one.
both.
Bye.
Anyway, it is time now to invite our very special scientist for our Christmas special now. This is the fantastic Dr. Heather Koldewey up next, talking a bit about a Christmas conservation lecture that she delivered recently at the University of Exeter down here in Cornwall. Now, just a bit of background on Heather, first of all. She started working for the Zoological Society of London, ZSL, in 1995, initially as a research scientist, then as curator of the ZSL London Zoo Aquarium, and currently as head of global conservation programs. She finds solutions through interdisciplinary research and conservation action on the interface between communities and environment. Some examples of this include co-founding Project Seahorse, which is recognised as the world's leading authority on seahorses. Developing Networks, an award-winning project that has developed a novel community-based supply chain for discarded fishing nets that are recycled into carpet tiles, addressing issues of marine debris and poverty alleviation in coastal communities. And this is the main project that we'll be touching on today, Project Ocean. Now, this is retail activism in action. It's an innovative and groundbreaking partnership between luxury London department store Selfridges and ZSL to bring ocean conservation to new audiences and change consumer buyer habits. Now, she's just as well been appointed honorary professor in the Centre of Ecology and Conservation. So congratulations to Dr. Heather Koldewey. And as I said, she's going to be talking about her Christmas conservation lecture. And this was titled Ocean Optimism in a Sea of Plastic. Now, make sure that you follow her work. I'll remind you of the links as well at the end of this. But if you want to check him out whilst you're listening, if it's safe for you to do so, of course, then you can find her on Twitter very simply at Heather Koldewey. Follow her research there. And also, you can use the tag Exeter Marine. That's where University of Exeter collects all of its marine research. And you can check all of that out if you like. So that's enough from me for now. Let's hand over to the expert. Here she is, Dr. Heather Koldewey. Welcome to our Christmas special. Heather, thank you very much indeed for agreeing to do this. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show with us. I'm really keen to talk to you about a bunch of different things, actually, but primarily, of course, in the focus of this interview, I was hoping to think about the subject, really, of your talk later on today. So fantastic we caught you ahead of that. And that's kind of ocean optimism in a sea of plastic.
Yes.
And this has kind of been in the news a lot recently for very good reason. But really, first of all, I wonder could you kind of run us through what's going on in the actual world with regards to plastic, Heather? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's the topic of the moment, certainly in terms of thinking about the oceans and thinking about profile. And sure. What's incredible for me is seeing the ocean in the news on a regular basis, and the primary topic of that being around the problem of plastic. And I think that's because it's something that relates to everybody in their everyday lives. So suddenly you have an ocean issue that's not about remote, far-off places or species or diving that many people can't actually engage in or feel very detached from. But plastic is something that we use every day, we use and throw away every day, and then suddenly hearing the impact of that on wildlife, on our wonderful environment, and identifying with those objects that you see in the news and seeing, whether it's the straw up a turtle's nose or the rings around beer cans strangling different wildlife. Those are very emotive images that you can identify with and realise that there's something you can do about. So for me, the topic of plastic is so significant because we've realised that basically it's everywhere. Everywhere we've looked in the ocean, from the deepest, the furthest, the most remote, the most isolated, we find plastic. We find it in every level of the food chain. We find it in our food. We find it in everything. So that is a scary fact. We know that we're pumping at least 8 million tonnes of plastic into the ocean every year, and also many other parts of the environment. But what's positive about it and why I remain optimistic in the light of that is that everybody wants to solve it. It's a very uniting issue. Conservation can often be quite a complicated topic. It certainly has a lot of viewpoints, but I feel I haven't yet met anybody who wants to see plastic in the ocean or plastic on our beaches. So then it becomes, okay, how do we solve this? And that's why I think we're seeing it being a very participatory change. So whether you're a business that makes plastic products, whether you're a government, whether a politician, or whether you're just an individual who cares, it is something that everybody has a role to play in solving. So whether it's, you're ditching the straws or moving to a refillable bottle. And so I remain optimistic because I think now we're waking up to the scale of the problem. We're also seeing a very strong and very rapid reaction to solve that.
There's a really nice quote in your blog as well, which I was reading, kind of perfectly on topic there, in terms of every piece of plastic debris has at some point been in someone's hand, right? So everyone has got the power to actually do something about it.
Yeah, that's right. So very much it's around the choice. What do we buy? We live in a very fast-moving society. We're always, sort of rushed for time, and plastic is an amazing product. So it's just how we use it. So we take something that's lasts for 600 plus years, and we use it in a few seconds or a few minutes or a few hours. and then have to deal with the consequences of the fact that it's going to be around basically forever, certainly as far as we're concerned. But the choice that we make in thinking about what we buy, once we've bought it, how we use it, and then how we dispose of it, we're very fortunate in the UK to have recycling systems. Many places where I work, like the Philippines, and I was just in India last week, the waste management systems and the infrastructure just doesn't exist. But we're really lazy. We're either lazy or confused. So when it comes to recycling, it's one or the other. But you see recycling bins in the street, and they're full of all kinds of rubbish. We're not really sure about what should go in which bin, when and where. And so then it becomes, you worry about it. We think it is, there's a lot of sort of misinformation and myths out there as well as to what happens to plastic, and we certainly haven't solved it. But there really is an opportunity for us, particularly in a developed country like the UK, to get things right and lead by example. And for me, seeing the movement, right here, a lot of it from Cornwall, has been really empowering. I live in Marazion. My community is a plastic-free community with the Surfers Against Sewage scheme. Seeing an entire community mobilising around a topic that we care deeply about, because it's, our place is an ocean. It's an ocean town. We're all about, the beauty and wonder of our Cornish coastline, and we see the negative impact of that. Walking on a beach after the storms we're having at the moment is a devastating sight. To clean it up and then come back the next day after a following storm and seeing the same amount of plastic has been re-delivered onto the shore. But the volunteer networks are incredible. The passion that comes from cafe owners to, all kinds of businesses that are uniting behind the issue, to seeing the number of people that would turn out to any beach clean event, to seeing how much people care about it and how much innovation is happening around the topic right here in Cornwall is inspiring and amazing, and it's really setting an example that's not just leading nationally but leading globally.
I think that's fantastic, and I think the main thing there that's so encouraging is, of course, this is coming to your kind of phrase, ocean optimism, right, is that, of course, as you were saying at the beginning of the interview, it is really devastating seeing the impacts of plastic and this debris in the news and things, but actually people are doing things about it. And I think really we've just got to thank the research community and scientists like yourself for actually bringing those issues straight into the limelight and saying, look at this, we can't ignore this.
Yes, absolutely, and science has played an absolutely critical role in this and will continue to play a critical role going forward. So certainly the research done that originally sort of documented the scale of the problem. There's amazing, world-leading research being done here at the University of Exeter in the Penryn campus around looking at the impact of plastic on wildlife, of understanding the types of plastics that we're seeing on our beaches, documenting that. And for policy change, for legislative change, for business engagement, those decisions need to be based on data. Don't need to be perfect data, but that evidence is absolutely critical to drive change. And I think the science community is getting a lot better at not just publishing in the peer-reviewed journals, which is critically important, but actually showing how science matters and making science matter. So taking those examples, that information, and getting it in the right hands in the right way. So briefing policymakers, giving evidence, responding to consultations, presenting to community groups. At all levels, we're seeing a real change within the science community as they realise that you can't just sit in a sort of a research building doing great research, but actually making sure that's used. So, with collaborations with the Plymouth Marine Laboratories and the University of Plymouth and colleagues there, we're really seeing global leading research coming out of the southwest of the UK that's driving change internationally.
Fantastic. And kind of looking to the future, Heather, I mean, are you remaining kind of optimistic about it? I mean, this is fantastic that people are coming together and there has been such this fantastic reaction to it. I think everyone cares about this, as you said. But looking to the future, do you still have that optimism?
I think that's. I think optimism is the only way I've stayed vaguely sane in this in my work, and that's really to turn it into something tangible. So if you look at the statistics and the fact about what we're doing to the planet, it's terrifying. We know that we're doing it now. You know, for decades we had no clue. Now we have no excuse. We have great. Global commitments around whether it's sustainable development goals or whether it's around the Paris Agreement on climate change. You know, governments have made the right commitments. We just, as citizens, have to make them sure that they deliver on what they said they will do. If I can't break it down into manageable chunks that I can play a part in solving, then it becomes overwhelming. And the reason that I focus on optimism versus doom and gloom is because it's very easy to become very depressed very quickly and to feel helpless. So firstly, I surround myself with amazing people who are helping solve the problem. And those come also from a variety of sectors. So I work with Selfridges department store, a luxury department store in London, which is a very unlikely partner, but meeting them just yesterday, the passion they have for solving, making, what they call retail activism, how do we actually solve things, to, a meeting I had on Monday with the business owner in Mulva gift shop in Marazion, who's our plastic-free champion in the community, and hearing her passion. There are amazing people everywhere doing extraordinary things, and by surrounding myself and networking with those, and you have a feeling of community, of a peer group of people that you can work with to help solve things, that there is a sort of a sense of forward momentum and things that we can do to make things better. It's definitely not easy, but I think as long as I have a genuine feeling of a forward-going trajectory,
sure, yes.
Then you feel that there is hope, there is optimism, and then obviously seeing within the research community how many amazing young scientists are really engaging on these topics. And that's because it's a relatively emerging area of science. Actually, the young scientists are at the forefront, so the people coming out of their PhDs now or in early career research are the ones who are at the forefront of this discipline and are making an enormous difference.
Well, I think it's a very nice message to get out there for people that really, if, of course this is very worrying, if they come across this, plastics and things in the news and see all the devastating images, you were mentioning a few of them at the beginning, they really can do something about it, right? They can go ahead and get involved with all these fantastic projects themselves, can't they? And everyone can make that difference.
Yes, and I think it's so everyone can do something. I think it's a case of not beating yourself up for not doing everything all at once. So there's some very quick and easy wins. So you can change, check your shampoos to make sure they don't have plastic microbeads, or your toothpaste. You can avoid things like plastic straws. You can remember to take your reusable shopping bag wherever you go. You can make sure that you have a refillable bottle with you. Those things are relatively easy. You have to remember, and you have to be a little bit disciplined, and it's just getting used to it. Then it gets starts getting a bit harder. But that's where we also need to start driving change through businesses. I mean, we need the supermarkets, we need the suppliers to actually provide us with what we want, which is something that doesn't damage the environment, but is convenient and is cheap.
Sure, yes.
But there's a certain degree of responsibility for those product designers to actually be thinking about this topic, and that's starting to happen. But that's where we as a consumer have a role to play. And of course, we're all voters. Once you're 18, we have a voice, and it's also looking at how we use that, and that is making a difference. So by pressure for people writing to their MPs, we now have a commitment for a plastic-free parliament, which was something led by Surfers Against Sewage right here in Cornwall. But that's got to the point where Parliament's leading by example and not having single-use plastic within the Parliament buildings, and that's important, and that makes a difference, and that's a leadership role, and it means that politicians, for whatever you think about them, are actually doing something positive in that context, and they've got this topic on their mind, which, you know, environment often comes very low down the list of political priorities. So this is one that is on everybody's radar, and we're looking at things that we can do about it.
Great. Well, thanks very much for your time so far. I won't keep you for much longer, I promise. But I just really would like to ask you at this stage, really, just to kind of reiterate this. I don't know if you have any kind of personal, and don't worry if not, obviously, but if any kind of personal experiences seeing plastic out there, you know, during your kind of research career, because I'm sure you've gone all over the world for this, but have you got any kind of personal experiences where you've seen plastic in a place you think, oh no, it's even here, sort of thing? Yes,
I mean, I think there's two examples that really bring it home. So for over 20 years I've worked in the Philippines in island communities. There's no waste management system there. And you realise that as you go back year on year, that they're turning into islands of plastic because there's nowhere for it to go, and it certainly doesn't go away. And then that, in that context, is drifting straight into the ocean. The waste dump in one island we're on is in the mangroves, so every time the tide comes in, more plastic flushes out. The communities want to solve it, but they're hampered by living in extreme poverty, very few options, and they're not quite sure what to do. But they are already starting to make a difference and sort of making choices. So that's where you really see it firsthand when there is no bin man coming or no recycling van coming, that it isn't going away. It's just, we're just moving it somewhere else and out of sight, out of mind. The second was about 3 years ago. I was on an expedition to the British Indian Ocean Territory, the Chagos Archipelago, which is slap bang right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's incredibly remote. It takes a long time to get to. You're on the boats for several days. It's uninhabited islands. It's 640,000 square kilometres of fully protected ocean. And we just in half an hour, we were on an island as part of a science expedition just for an hour. We were mainly boat-based for the research. But in just 20 minutes, three of us collected 334 single-use plastic water bottles from 10 different countries, just from what we could see on the labels. Wow. And that really, again, you know, obviously that wasn't being locally generated. They were drifting in from the ocean around, from the ocean currents, much of it coming from India, Sri Lanka, off of fishing boats, off of commercial vessels. And that's, again, that point where you just recognise the global nature, and however well protected that area is, there's nothing you can do to stop the plastic getting in. So our absolute priority is to reduce the amount of plastic we use and to stop it getting into the ocean in the first place. So that's why we've, you know, started initiatives like One Less, which is trying to change a system that's dependent on single-use plastic water bottles to one that's around a refill culture and a refill society. But to do that, you've got to make it easy. You've got to make it, you know, refill bottles of a good enough quality that they don't leak or they don't break or they don't make slurpy noises and they don't taste horrible.
Sure, yes.
You've got to make it that if you take a refillable bottle out and you run out, you can refill it easily, whether it's in a cafe that you feel comfortable asking for a refill or there's a fountain. It needs to be a normalised behaviour, that you're not you know, a weirdy greenie yes. to have that. So it's, how do we make these behaviours normal and cool? So, you know, at my children's school in Marazion, you know, the refill bottle is now part of the school uniform, and I think that's a perfect example of just saying, you know, this is how it is, and this is normal, and this is for everybody, and here we go, and then that's built into the school life, the school culture, and then for those children that becomes something that they take home with them and expands into the family and friendship groups and so on. So then it becomes odd if you have a plastic bottle, or odd if you don't have a refill bottle with you. So that's, you know, a great example of how we can sort of turn things around. And, you know, what's inspiring to me is not quite as young as I was, but, you know, is seeing so much of this is being driven by youth. So many spokespeople on this topic are under 15. You know, there is a real sense of of the importance, because that's what those children are inheriting, is a planet full of plastic, and we need to, we need to change that and start shifting that system to one where we do have a beautiful, clean, healthy ocean.
Yeah, I think that's coming back to the point that you've made already a number of times. But remaining optimistic, I think, is just the best way about going about it, and knowing that everybody can make those small changes as you outlined. And even if schools happen to listen and they think, oh, that's a good idea, we can do that as well. There's just tons of things like that. It seems like everyone can think of something they could do that's beneficial.
And every bit counts as well. I think that's what's so valuable. So in the UK, on average, every adult uses 175 single-use plastic water bottles a year. So if you just think about changing that as one in person, that's still a decent number of change. If you think about then influencing your family, your friendship groups, changing it in your office, whatever, just that one change of that one product, the numbers start really adding up and really making a difference. And so you feel that you are contributing, and that's because it genuinely is something that makes a difference and matters. Seeing universities not only researching the topic but also looking at their plastic consumption and use and what they do, and seeing whether it's the coffee shops or cafes on campus actually only using more sustainable packaging, supplying drinks in other more sustainable, ocean-friendly packaging, is leading by example and living the science as well. So, and sometimes we can be quite disconnected from that, but this is a topic where it does go from research to action very, very quickly.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully there will come a day when you go back to that remote island in the Indian Ocean and find not a bottle in sight. That will be lovely. I think it's going to take a long time because of the longevity of that. But what's important is that we also don't see this as a topic of the moment and something that's last year's news. It is going to require a sustained action. So the good thing for me about this topic is there's a real feeling of momentum, of change, of reaching a potential tipping point to actually transform things globally. We're seeing countries like India and Indonesia making massive commitments about reducing or eliminating single-use plastic. We're seeing plastic bag bans in Kenya. The first country was Bangladesh. These are countries that we think of more as in a development context, not in terms of a leadership context. But so there's exciting momentum, but it really can't become old news. Oh, well, we've done that. We've done a few straws, so it's okay. This is something that is a change in the way that we live and behave. But single-use plastic only became mainstream in 60 years ago. So it's, for me, in the whole history of the planet, we're talking about changing 60 years of behaviour change. That's all. Yes,
but when I grew up, I didn't do beach cleans because I didn't need to. There probably was plastic around, but it certainly wasn't as in your face as it is now.
Sure.
And how do we, get back to that point that where a lot of the older members of communities relate to very well. They rightly think it's crazy when we have very healthy water out of the tap that we pay money for buying water in a plastic bottle. Why would you do that?
It is bonkers.
It is bonkers. And a lot of how we used to live and behave in treasuring and valuing our products and expecting things to last for a long time and repairing and reusing, that is how we used to be. And it's interesting to see how we can work back to use all the best of how it used to be, recognising it is a different era, but also recognising the impact we've had by our fast and loose society.
Yes. Well, Heather, thanks very much for all your time so far. I won't keep you for too much longer now, I promise. I'd just really like to, I suppose, begin to close up, but really just by reiterating what people can do about this. I mean, I know you've already said a few things that people can obviously just make immediate lifestyle changes that can be of major benefit, but also more than that, if there's anywhere particular that listeners can kind of read up on the issue and look at the research and things like this, and just become a bit more informed, perhaps. I don't know if you have any obvious sites or things that people can look at for that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think from the science side of things, a lot of the the good papers are published under the Exeter Marine. University of Exeter has collated all of the marine research into one area and has the plastic in that. So that's a great spot for the science. In terms of the sort of action, I think the Surfers Against Sewage site is a great one, because that's where if you're interested in having a plastic-free community, a plastic-free school, or just looking at some of the steps that you can change, that's all on there. We have, with the University of Exeter, we have the Marine Ecology and Conservation Network. That's for people in Cornwall who are interested. So once a year we have an event. A lot of that can be around plastic, and so signing up for that network on Facebook and sort of following that. But there's the Cornish Plastic Pollution Coalition. There's a huge amount of community groups, so there's always something going along in your area. So I think look and ask who's running beach cleans, who's but it doesn't require you necessarily to join anything. You can just take action yourself, and there's so much information out there from different organisations that it's very easy to find.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for this, Heather. Very last thing, and probably a bit mean, because I'm going to leave the recorder on for this, but maybe I'll let it out, I don't know, because I'd just love to give you a song request, and I know this is absolutely last minute.
And I completely forgot to think about that.
Yeah, I know, it's harsh. It's very harsh.
I think actually probably I'll have to say about the sea, just because of the relevance of the sea.
Yes, absolutely. Well, why not?
To think about the sea, but I've got lots of other cool songs that I should have thought about. I was going to do it on the way here and I forgot.
Well, how about you can send them in and then we can play a couple?
Okay.
But that's a fantastic request to start with anyway, so thank you.
Okay,
thanks very much, Heather.
The Christmas Special.
Ho, ho, ho.
Just from the bottom of my heart, want to wish a very Merry Christmas to all of your listeners.
We wish you and your listeners a very happy Christmas.
I love you all in Cornwall. Love you, love you.
Hi, Lucy. Can you hear me all right there?
Hello, Ben. How are you?
Hello. Very well, thanks. How are you doing?
I am very, very well. I'm excited. Christmas is ahead. I'm looking forward to talking to you today.
Oh, excellent. Well, I was really looking forward to having you on, Lucy. And I tell you what, I am feeling well and truly festive today. It's really coming, isn't it? Christmas seriously close now.
Ben, please tell me that you're sitting in the studio wearing a Christmas jumper, because I would love that.
I have got a Christmas jumper on, and you know what? I'm also going to play a bunch of Christmas tracks, actually, straight after this interview. I'm going to let you choose, Lucy. What Christmas song would you like on?
Can I just tell you, I've been singing all morning on the way here, and I've got the ultimate Christmas song that I'm going to give you at the end of this interview.
Oh, perfect. Okay, looking forward to that. First of all, Lucy, could I just be cheeky and ask you just to say your name, really, for our listeners, if that's all right?
Yes, I'm Lucy Alexander.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Excellent. And this is going to be super handy, actually, of course, because I know you're on a campaign at the moment, right, to, basically to help people hosting Christmas parties.
Yep, that's so true. I've got so many stats and bits of information about hosting and being the perfect host. Now, the research by Gumtree reveals that while half of Brits say they're excited about the prospect of hosting, 27% feel under pressure and 11% wholly unprepared for Christmas. The top stresses include keeping people entertained, cooking for all your guests, the food going cold, the expense of it all, and a fifth of hosts worry about not having all the necessary items. And that is why I'm here today to talk about the things that people forget and that we've got to be prepared and think ahead of the game.
So there we go. So hopefully people listening to this won't happen to them, and they'll be perfectly chilled come Christmas Day, because they'll be thinking
they'll be loving me and thinking, exactly. Oh, that Lucy Alexander, she gave me some good tips on that day.
You saved them, basically, Lucy. That's
gravy boat is all I'm going to say. Everybody forgets about the extra gravy boat, and you've got 10 people sitting around a table. The last thing you want is one gravy boat.
Yeah, that's not on. What are some of the other What are some of the other top things, Lucy? Because I mean, obviously, we're going to have to be a big shout out with gravy boats. Do not forget those. Anything else?
Yeah,
that we can kind of
there's going to be a mad rush on gravy boats now. I've said that.
Yeah, there's going to be a shortage in Cornwall of gravy boats.
No, but okay. So hosts, the things that the hosts are likely to need are extra chairs.
So you've got a lovely table, you may have extended it, don't forget the extra chairs, and try and make sure they're all at the same height. There's nothing worse than having an armchair down the end and you're sitting almost underneath the table. So things like the chairs, a bigger table, extra plates, extra bowls, and extra cutlery. And the top tip of mine would be to lay your table the night before. Put your decoration in the middle, lay everything out, cups, your drinking water glasses, your wine glasses, have everything done, because then you're likely to be a lot more calm in the morning.
Hey, that's a great idea, actually, yeah. And I can imagine it being extremely awkward if you forget something like an extra chair. I mean, that wouldn't be very good, would it? I mean, how on earth do you explain that as well to your guests?
Well, you just have to tell your guests to go home, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Go home.
And also, things that hosts forget. So I know so many people that do this. An ice bucket. You need to keep the booze warm, cold. Sure. So make sure you've got an ice bucket, table decorations, like I said, a gravy boat. But there's so many things that you can do to help your Christmas run smoothly, and be resourceful as well. So if you are out of fridge space and you've got loads of stuff crammed in there, you can do something like get your cool box. You can keep all your drinks and your food in the cool box to keep it lovely and cool. If you don't have a tablecloth, you could use an old curtain or a throw to do the job. There are lots of things you can do to be resourceful this Christmas. You do not have to spend the money that people are spending. And in fact, Brits spend just under £4 million extra on Christmas items, which really is a huge amount of money.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, isn't it, actually, thinking about it? I'm glad you mentioned the cool box, Lucy, because I'm going to have to admit I was stalking you on Twitter earlier, and I saw that was a great tip you had.
You were stalking me on Twitter. No, but listen, it's all about tips at Christmas. Also, you've got to do things like clear some hanging space if you've got your guests coming to stay in your spare room. You can do really nice little things, little touches in their bedroom. Make sure you've got enough towels. Just really, really be prepared.
Fantastic. Well, Lucy, I think you probably have saved a lot of people already, to be honest. And Lucy, here's a question for you, though, and this is going to be a tough one, I think, actually. Have you got... I mean, obviously there is, mulled wine is a very festive drink, but have you got a go-to beverage for your guests at Christmas?
Everybody knows come round Lucy Alexander's house for a go-to beverage. I have a selection, actually. My go-to beverage, I suppose, I love a bit of champagne. I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love a gin and tonic. I mean, the list is endless.
Well,
probably my go-to would be... Well, I like a Cosmopolitan, actually. That's a bit of a Christmas drink for me.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, can't go wrong with a Cosmo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Always fun at the Alexander household over Christmas.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. The thing is, though, I mean, you can do all the kind of, lovely to get the Cosmos out, but as long as you've got an extra chair, right? Because if you haven't got a chair, then that's kind of number one priority. And a gravy boat, because if you haven't got those, things aren't going to go smoothly, regardless of
a gravy boat. And I think this, I think so many hosts, young and old, worry that they don't have all the necessary items. And I think if you are hosting, just get your list sorted. I am Lucy, the lady of lists. So make sure you kind of almost have a little dress rehearsal. I know probably that's a bit naff, but I have done that. I've had a little dress rehearsal maybe the Sunday before Christmas of how it's going to run, go through my menus, look at what we're doing. Think of things like keeping it connected. If you've got loads of kids coming around, make sure you've got the Wi-Fi passcode to hand.
Yes,
so that kids don't have the embarrassment of thinking, oh, quick, I want to go online, I can't look anything up. Put it on the wall, have it where everyone can see it. But what you mustn't forget to do is enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Your house is not a show home. It's there for your guests to kick back and relax and just really get the most out of the day.
Absolutely. You know what? I think one of my favourite things to do Christmas Day, to be honest, is once it's all kind of just that kind of tired bit after it's all kind of finished, everyone's chilling. That's the bit that's the time when you get the whiskey out. I think that's the perfect time for that.
That's if you've not been hosting.
Well, that's very true.
You'd be laid down in the corner somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucy, but there's nothing nice that it's all about festive family fun, Ben, and making Christmas memories. Because I think that's what you've got to do. Make those Christmas memories. All the people that you love and you care about, just have a really good time. Get the Cosmos on the go and enjoy yourself.
Absolutely love it. And I think that is such a great choice, Cosmos, Lucy. I'm going to tell you that's perfect. That is.
You've got to get a cocktail shaker. And again, get on the Gumtree blog because they'll have loads on there that you can buy. You don't have to buy them new. Just be resourceful this Christmas and think about it.
Thanks, Lucy. I was going to say, actually, I think that probably clears that one up. I was going to say, if you've got the... this kind of list that we're talking about, if you've got that online, that'd be awesome if people can basically run through it and check.
Absolutely, visit the Gumtree blog. It will have everything on there that you need, and you can pick it up locally. And I just think that's what people need to be thinking about this Christmas.
Or people can just stalk you on Twitter, Lucy, and get them from there too.
I love that. Come and look at me on Twitter, and I'll tweet you back. Christmas jumper pictures, please.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe we should send you a radio selfie.
Oh, my God, I'm going to be inundated. I haven't even got mine on today.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's on the way now. I think it's this week we can well and truly say it is festive time. So I think that's fine.
Oh, and I love it that you're playing all Christmas songs today.
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
I choose one?
What? Yeah, of course. Yeah, what were you going to choose?
So the ultimate for me is Wham! Last Christmas.
Oh, well, of course, yes, it's a classic.
You love that one, Ben?
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got to love that. If you don't love that one, there's something wrong with you. You're the Grinch, basically, if you don't like that one.
Oh, well, listen, it's been so lovely talking to you, and have a fantastic Christmas, and I hope that you enjoy hosting yours.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, a very Merry Christmas to you as well, Lucy. Thanks for your time today.
You take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
My name's Caryn Franklin. I have worked in fashion for nearly 4 decades now, and I'm particularly interested in body positivity and sustainability, so I'm thrilled to be talking about Oxfam and their initiative today.
Thanks, Caryn. Now, let's get straight onto topic with this, Caryn, because I think a lot of people will find themselves in this position, going out and buying Christmas clothes. But of course, there is, and I'm going to call it a bit of a dark side to Christmas jumpers, right? Could you kind of explain to us a little bit about what's going on here?
When you say Christmas jumpers, do you mean their very existence, or are you talking about the fact that we spend 3.5 billion on clothes this Christmas, and that some of that, some of those garments, in fact, 8 million garments, will only be worn once. And one of the things that Oxfam would like to highlight is what happens to those clothes and how we can actually empower ourselves to make a big difference, and at the same time empowering others, whilst also still having a fantastic time at Christmas, dressing up, making the most of all those amazing parties, and generally having fun.
So Caryn, what happens when people do go ahead and buy Christmas clothes, and as you say, I've got the research in front of me here from Oxfam, a lot of these clothes do tend to only be worn once. I mean, why is this so bad?
Well, for a lot of people, that means that if they're not going to wear them after that, they're either hanging around in their wardrobe, and again, there are lots of studies that show that people generally are only wearing about a fifth of their wardrobe, but that more than that, they're going to dispose of them. And the thing that stunned me was a quarter of the people who say they'll only wear the item they buy for Christmas once will also think nothing of discarding it in the bin. Yes. And so if there might be one thing that we could help people understand that they could maybe even take on as a New Year's resolution, is that they won't throw clothing away again, because it can have so many uses. So what I'd love people to know is that straight away you can take it to a charity shop, and someone like Oxfam operates in such a way that your clothing will be labelled and resold, and anybody who comes in and buys that item of clothing that you have donated hands over money, of which 100% of it will be spent on helping people in extreme poverty. So a great example is a dress that is bought for £10 means that that £10 can provide 10 people with clean and safe water in a refugee camp. So the discarding of it is one thing to think about, but let's go further and say you are going to buy a wonderful party outfit and you are going to have fun, but what about buying your party outfit from a charity store like Oxfam? There are 610 stores up and down the country, and they also have an online shop which stocks over 100,000 items on it currently. And a key benefit of doing that is that you may just be making a connection with something that is more unique, and that is a real talking point.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's probably the main, especially thinking about, people after kind of, a bit daft Christmas jumpers, for instance, Christmas outfits that just, are literally just there to bring a smile to people's faces at parties. I mean, there's no reason, is there really, why you can't find something like that at a charity shop? And as you say, I mean, it just has even more meaning then. And of course, you also get the knowledge, which will make you feel really happy. The knowledge that you're actually helping people by doing that, instead of just buying something that you're only going to use once, and as you say, might end up just simply going to landfill and bringing no benefit whatsoever.
It's a win-win all round, really, isn't it? We are going to dress up, we are going to have fun, but the choices that we make can have a real impact both on the environment and other people living in difficult positions. So it's a really simple shift of mindset to go, okay, maybe I will look for my party outfit in a second-hand store, and you can have great fun doing that. Both my daughters and I shop in second-hand stores. I particularly like looking on the insides at the labels, and if it's perhaps a label that I don't recognise because it's come from another country, that makes it more exciting to me. But knowing that you're doing that, and then your money is going to a really good cause, is hugely valuable. I think the other thing to say is that perhaps people, because they are buying value retail, feel that the cheap item of clothing that they have bought, brand new, doesn't have any pass-on value as resale in a store. But Oxfam certainly will take all clothing items, and then they will make choices as to how they then process that clothing. And they are the only major charity to have its own textile sorting facility, which means that they can save all the clothes from landfill, and those clothes get recycled in different ways. And certainly future tech that Oxfam have told me that they are dealing with means that very soon they will be able to extract fibres from the old clothes to completely regenerate and make into new clothes.
Fantastic. So really, people really shouldn't be worrying about what they're taking. Just as long as they do take their clothes there, they will be put to good use, basically.
Absolutely, and when you realise that, you just become part of the process of closing up the loop, so that you needn't feel any guilt in treating yourself to another Christmas outfit. A lot of people do these days choose to wear an outfit once only, and that is a modern culture. If that's you, knowing that you're going to donate it gives everything that you're doing a sense of meaning. The other thing I would say is there is also the opportunity to wear clothes again in a different way when you're working with a budget that you can spend in a store like Oxfam, because it gives you the opportunity to buy extra things like accessories or a layering garment that you can put on top, that you take that same garment but you present it in a different way through your own personal styling.
That's a great idea. And you know what, Caryn? I'm thinking about it. I've actually found some really great jackets. I'm a big fan of jackets, and I've found some great ones in charity shops before. I don't know if have you found anything particular? I don't know if you've got an example of this, but I thought it'd be great if you did. If you've got an example of a particular thing that you found in a charity shop in the past that you were a big fan of, because mine would definitely be a jacket that I found once. So I was very pleased with that.
Where to start? I mean, I'm glad that you do. My two daughters and I constantly swap clothes that we've bought. So sometimes I will get real pleasure out of something because of the fit and the warmth and the texture, and it's not a particularly heroic item. But other times, I've found great designer labels in stores where I've gone, hold on a minute, this is in a charity store and it's not marked up. It was sort of £12. I think I bought. Oh, darn it, you're testing me now because the designer's name. But I remember finding a pair of trousers. It was either a Edina Rone, lovely sort of woolen trousers. But, at the time, I remembered her catwalk collection. She used very luxurious and stylish fabrics. And there were these trousers just sitting there, smiling at me.
Fantastic. Yeah, you had to go ahead.
Had to have them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was extremely pleased. It was actually a tweed jacket, and I think it's a really good place to check for things like that. Things that usually are actually pretty expensive, but actually you save a load by going there. And of course, obviously, you get the knowledge that you're actually helping people by doing that. So, as you say, it's win-win.
It is a win-win, and I think that what you made there was an excellent point for perhaps sort of younger audiences for new to charity store shopping to know is that quite often older generations will donate, and they bought clothes in a time when they were made in such a way that the fabrics were extremely good quality because there was no such thing as fast fashion.
Sure.
And the stitching and the sewing was, exemplary craft. And perhaps younger audiences become used to value fashion and fast fashion that is made in a very different way. And it's like being in a treasure trove when you're looking at old or vintage items that are on sale in a charity shop because they're made so beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's actually super trendy as well. I mean, I use the word trendy, but I'm certainly not trendy myself, Caryn. I think that you'll be the person to ask about this, but it's actually super trendy to shop for kind of vintage style clothes as well. I mean, they're just so unique and end up looking really cool.
Correct. And what you've also got there is a talking point, because we have learnt to talk about image for better or for worse, and we do go, that's a great top you're wearing, where did you get that from? You've not only got the talking point of having, guess what, I bought it at a steal in a charity store, but you, all of your listeners who are perhaps agreeing with the Oxfam initiative, can also this Christmas be talking about what an amazing opportunity it is to pass money on to people over the other side of the world when you continue buying in charity stores. It's a really nice feeling. It is a win-win. What's not to love?
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much, Caryn. I really appreciate your time today. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show with us. I'd love really just to begin to let you go now, but first of all, I'd just really like to point listeners in the direction of a bit more information, actually.
Sure. So if people want to know a little bit more, and especially to explore the huge catalogue of party items on the Oxfam online shop, then oxfam.org.uk is a place for information about Oxfam's activities. But if you add /shop to that will take you to your new party wear. How exciting.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Thanks very much, Caryn. I'd love now to finish by just giving you a song request, actually. I don't know if you have a particular song in mind that I can play for you today, Caryn, because I really do think you deserve one.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, my first choice would be John Lee Hooker, The Healer. It's such a beautiful tune.
Fantastic.
And if that one is hard to find, I'd go for the Isley Brothers, Harvest for the World.
Oh, both absolutely cracking choices. You know what? Maybe I should get on both for you, Caryn. How about
that? Oh, perfect. That's made my day.
Well, thank you so much. It was great to have you on the show, Caryn. I'll let you go now, but thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
The Christmas Special.
Ho, ho, ho. Just from the bottom of my heart, want to wish a very Merry Christmas to all of your listeners.
We wish you and your listeners a very happy Christmas.
I love you all in Cornwall. Love you, love you.